Hey, good morning, everyone. It's a very beautiful March morning here on the 26th of March, and I am with Dr. A.J. Jain, who is one of five insurance commissioner candidates in our Democratic primary this upcoming in May. Dr. Jain or A.J.,
Yes,
good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you as a candidate. Thank you for running. I always try to say that to every candidate who does that. It's a big undertaking, and I appreciate anybody who wants to give that a go. So thank you very much for running for insurance commissioner.
Thank you.
Uh, Now, what I typically do when we start on the interviews is give the candidate a minute or two, however long you need, to just sort of give an introduction to yourself, your family, your background, whatever you think is important for voters to know. So I'll turn the screen over to you now and do just that. So go for it.
So certainly, thank you. So I'm a father. I have two children. They went to public schools in Georgia. They went to Georgia State. My wife, Audrey, she's a leader in the Atlanta Public Schools. She has about 10,000 elementary school children under her leadership at 17 different schools. Um, Tom, the reason I'm just so grateful to be in this country. I've been here for about 44 years. I have had an amazing life, amazing opportunities, and I've built a life here, and I'm really concerned about what I'm seeing. I was a university professor for about a couple of decades and an entrepreneur, and then I entered the insurance industry. Several years ago, I just decided to step back and launched a nonprofit called Feed a Billion. We provided 7 million meals around the world in Georgia and other countries. And I currently serve on the audit committee of the Fulton County of as a citizen member. I'm also the president of our HOA, and I just at my core, I'm a helper and I'm a problem solver. That is how I would best describe me.
Yeah, Lord knows we need a lot of problem solvers. We got a lot of problems to solve. So thank you for doing all that, especially the Feed a Billion project. Sounds wonderful.
Thank
So
you.
yeah,
I
that's
learned a
very
lot from that. Yeah.
really well good. I mean that sounds like a great
Actually,
humanitarian
if you can see,
effort.
this is the mug right here.
Got your own mug too. Okay,
Mhm.
so tell us a little bit about why you are running for insurance commissioner. What prompted you to step out and do that?
So I am an industry expert who is entering politics to solve a problem. And the problem that we have is the insurance commissioner's office, which is supposed to put the customers first, you and I first, has moved away from that for the last 30 years. And frankly, Georgia deserves an insurance commissioner and a department that has consumers back. The current system is not working. It is failing us, it is failing our citizens. And over time, the insurance has become unaffordable. I was talking to a 29-year-old single mom with a 6-year-old child who had to make a trade-off between continuing her health insurance or paying her mortgage, and she decided to drop her health coverage. As I'm going across the state and I'm talking to more and more people, the issue around rising premiums, home insurance, auto insurance, health insurance, all of these different business insurance products, gotten so much more expensive because over time, insurance companies, Georgia is one of the very few states where the insurance companies can raise rates without getting prior approval from the Department of Insurance. So as insurance commissioner, I want to fight to lower premiums. I want to hold the industry accountable, and I want to tackle corruption that is built into that process. People may not realize that the Republicans have controlled the office of the insurance commissioner for over 3 decades. And during that time, there have been four insurance commissioners, and there's currently the fifth. Out of the four insurance commissioners, two have gone to jail because of fraud. So I'm just sick and tired of people taking advantage of a little guy in the community. And, I couldn't just sit on the sideline anymore. I had to jump in and take this head on. That's why I'm doing it.
Thank you. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. The insurance commissioner position has been rife with corruption, I guess is the best word for it. It's just, we're fortunate to have one that's not currently going to prison over something. I mean, it's been like for a while we haven't had that. So I understand where you're coming from totally.
Yeah.
Uh, what would you consider, you've mentioned this a little bit, but what would you consider for you, the top two or three issues specifically that you would tackle as insurance commissioner?
I want to bring down the premiums and
Mhm.
make and justify and have the insurance companies justify their rate hikes. Right now, they can just push the rates through. And I
Right.
want to use the full authority of the insurance commissioner's office to protect consumers. Claims get denied. There are payment delays. There are unfair policy cancellations. I was talking to a business owner who has 6 commercial properties, and the insurance company just dropped him. No explanation. They just dropped him. And I was talking to another business owner. He has a limo company, and he said that we can't afford the rates because they've just gone up so much. My wife's assistant is driving around a nervous wreck every time she gets in the car because she has had to shrink her coverage because she could not afford the full coverage. So we have to do better than that. People are suffering, and there is a way to do that. I am an industry insider. I know how insurance works, how underwriting works, what the insurance companies are doing, and there is a way for us to solve these problems working with the insurance companies, but creating more accountability for them. And there are a lot of innovative products that can be designed and introduced, but we have to have somebody that understands the business in order to have meaningful conversations with the insurance companies and keep at the core the why we exist, which is to protect the consumers. We can't just be an organization, an entity, a regulatory body that rubber stamps everything that the insurance industry wants. That's where we are right now. Over the last 30 years, we have gradually moved away from protecting consumers to really aligning more with the industry. At the very core, the insurance commissioner's job is to protect the consumers and to facilitate the distribution channel, which is the agents, right? To make sure that
Right.
the agents are representing the consumers. But if you start aligning with the insurance company, you're in an upside down pyramid. So instead of the base being the protection of consumers, it becomes aligning with the insurance companies. The pricing has to be fair, and there's a way to do it. If you look at, I was just reading yesterday that the property insurance in the state of Georgia has gone up by more than 30% in the last few years. I mean, these are steep increases, and
Right.
you can't even get coverage. Even if you're willing to pay, you can't get coverage.
Yeah, now one of the things I think a lot of voters need to know, especially about these sort of specialized offices like insurance commissioner. Just briefly, how much regulatory range does the insurance commissioner's office have over insurance companies? Without getting too much into the detail, what can an insurance commissioner do specifically? What would you do? Say, I gather that you think we've been way too easy on insurance companies, which I would agree with. What can you do specifically, as just one or two examples, that you could sort of tighten the bolts on that a little bit and
Just
make it
very
more fair?
specific examples are the rate setting, giving
Yeah,
prior approvals for rate setting, not using variables such as credit scores and zip codes for underwriting decisions. Because, not to get very technical, there is a difference between causation and correlation. So the
hmm,
actuaries base their pricing decisions on a lot of variables that are correlated with loss history, but they're not necessarily causing them. So whether your credit score is 800 or 650, does that make you a bad driver? Probably not. But because they don't know exactly how you drive, they use these surrogate variables to underwrite. And when you live in certain zip codes, so disproportionately it affects people that are living in parts of Georgia where the zip code is not a desirable zip code, or due to life circumstances, their credit scores are lower and they get unfairly treated. So the insurance people don't realize that the insurance office is a very powerful and important office in the state of Georgia because it's a statewide elected position. It's one of 8 or 9 elected positions: governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, etc. And the insurance commissioner is up there. So it is the insurance commissioner office is accountable to you, to the people. And there is no federal regulation that regulates the insurance industry. It's state mandate. So it is a very powerful position if it is used properly.
Right. And it really hasn't been used that way at all. I just think it's been so long since we've had anyone that people have forgotten that, yeah, the state actually can decide how insurance companies figure out these things, like, what insurance rates are and so forth. So yeah, it would be
It's just really
wonderful.
the rates, the claim denials. You
Yeah.
have policy cancellations, coverage dropped or coverage shrunk. And the other thing is, I was talking to a funeral operator of a funeral home, and he said one of the biggest problems we have in Georgia is life insurance companies don't pay out the claims after the person has passed away for a year, 2 years sometimes.
Mhm.
And what is the
Mhm.
family supposed to do during that time? Or
Right.
the claims for catastrophic losses, they're still not paid out.
Right. Right. And yeah, I've known people who had to go through that with their family after following a death. So right. I mean, there seems to be a lot of things that could be done in the overseeing the insurance agencies that we're not doing currently. Uh, Now, there are 5 people running for this in the
Yes.
Democratic primary. What do you think sets you apart from the other 4? And you don't have to get like, this doesn't have to be personal or anything. Just from your background, your experience, why do you think you have the advantage over, say, the other 4 candidates in this race?
First and foremost, I am from the industry. I understand how the industry works. I am coming into politics from the industry to solve a problem that exists. I am not a career politician. I am not looking at this position for a springboard to do something else and get into some other bigger political office like some other people have done. I am not a serial candidate who goes from one election to another election to another election and qualify for jobs that I have no business being in. This is what I know. If you look at who I am, what I like to do, I like to help people, I like to solve problems. What I know is insurance. So I'm applying those 2 things to the world of insurance through this position, through this job. That's why I'm running. That's why I'm different. And if people look at my credentials, I'm the most qualified candidate to take on the incumbent in November, not the other opponents.
And I think the Republican incumbent, doesn't have a challenger, so you will be going up against Mr. King. Is that's
That's
correct, right?
that's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the politics of it. We have these statewide campaigns, combined campaigns. Like if you get through the primary and you're our nominee, what do you see as your particular strategy or vision for the politics of running a statewide campaign? How do you think you're going to uh, do that? How do you think you're going to the fundraising, all of that? Have you thought about all of that, and what's your plans to facilitate that?
Yeah, so I have a whole team that we have assembled of people that are very experienced in running political campaigns. They've run successful statewide campaigns in Georgia and other states. This really is about engaging people. This really is about engaging the voters and the population. It is about showing people that there is a way to solve these problems. And let's have a conversation about this, going out, meeting with people in the communities, spending time with them, and educating them on the positions that I have, understanding from them what are some of the challenges and the issues they are facing in their own lives. Whether the Mr. McMahon, the reality is whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, it doesn't matter what your race is, doesn't matter what your age is, it doesn't matter what your gender is. Insurance premium is a kitchen table conversation in a lot of families because it is very expensive. And that is what I want to fix. So it's an issue that reaches across the state. It affects everybody. I know that business very well. I know how to fix it. And that's what I want to do. I want to go and take the message to as many people as possible. It is, um, I got into this race 2.5 weeks ago, and it is full on. I'm committed. Um, I'm not looking to do anything else. This is what I want to do. I have a very high degree of integrity. People will tell you that. I'm very committed to all of this. And, this is what I am doing. And we will get the votes out. We will get the message out. And we are already seeing that. We are seeing the traction. And we will just keep going.
And I think I've talked to a lot of the Public Service Commission candidates, for example, and to me, there's a lot of similarities in the role that an insurance commissioner plays and what the Public Service Commission does in their role. I would assume that the insurance companies are going to be heavily behind Mr. King uh, because they like having basically a free hand to do whatever they want. What sort of groups, what do we have as allies on the Democratic side that can help candidates like you, other than just individual donors, of course?
I expect that there are insurance companies that are not even entering Georgia because they have underwriting capacity, but they would play in a more fairer competitive market. I
Right.
expect that, and I know that exists. So there is a way to attract even more insurance companies. And also, even the insurance companies that are doing business in the state of Georgia, they want to work with somebody that has a reasonable approach to solving problems. It's Yes, they have had uh, an insurance commissioner's office for a number of years that has been aligned with their interests. But at the same time, at the end of the day, it is human beings that are running these companies. And if we can come up with reasonable approaches with them, make licensing more reasonable to deal with. Georgia is one of the more difficult states because as a person in the insurance business who was involved in multiple acquisition transactions and doing business in a lot of different states, I dealt with a lot of regulatory bodies in New York and Florida, California, Oklahoma, Georgia, South Carolina, other states. And Georgia is a difficult state to do business with. So there are ways of simplifying doing business with the state of Georgia, which will make it attractive. If we are able to increase capacity, if we are able to increase, in the economics, it's demand and supply. If we can improve the supply of insurance product, the price will automatically go down, right? If the
Right.
demand is the same.
Right.
So that's what we have to do is we have to work with the industry to increase the supply of insurance product coming into the state.
Yeah, and I've personally had to. I lost an insurance company because of, I think, in part because of the situation in Georgia. They just pulled out, and I had to go
Yeah.
find another one. That was happened a couple of years ago to me, so I know that pretty well. And mostly uh, in Georgia, I know the Secretary of State handles licensure, but I suppose within the insurance industry itself, it's your office that does that
Correct.
particular part, right?
So the
Okay.
licensing of insurance companies and of the distribution channel, which is agents and claims adjusters and managing general agents and all of that, that is all controlled by the insurance commissioner's office.
Okay.
And the insurance industry has not invested as much in operational efficiency improvements in general. And we saw that we spent a great deal of time, effort, and money in improving the operational efficiency of our insurance company and investing in technology and innovativeness. And the same is true of the commissioner's offices. So there is a role that technology can play, and the commissioner's office can come up with where the industry is today, because the industry has been investing a great deal of money and in automation and improving the operational efficiency and compliance. And frankly, the commissioner's office needs to do the same and make it easier for everybody to do business.
Well, AJ, you've covered a lot in a short period of time, and I appreciate that. You obviously have a good, solid background, ton of experience at this, and you have a vision, I think, for what the political process will play out this year. I always like to end these interviews with giving the candidate like a minute or two to give us your stump speech, sort of summarize everything. Why should we vote for A.J. Jain for our next insurance commissioner? So I'm going to turn it over to you to close us out. Why should we do that?
Certainly. I understand how the system is currently rigged against the Georgia families. And I'm just done watching. The politicians have let it happen. I've worked in the insurance industry. I know exactly how it works and exactly where it is failing us. So I want to fix that. Premiums are going up every year. Coverages are going down. Claims are not getting paid. The insurance executives have cozied up with the commissioner's office and are getting their way. Things don't change. And nothing changes if nothing changes. So if someone like me with the experience from the industry can jump in and say, I want to roll up my sleeves and solve this problem, take it head on, and I'm committed to solving it, I think we have a chance to get through it and actually do something good for the community, for the people in Georgia. So that's why I'm doing this.
And again, thank you so much for stepping out to run for a statewide office. Georgia's a big state with 159 counties. I know it's not an easy thing to try and reach out to everyone, but I appreciate when all the candidates, such as yourself, do that as you've been doing here today. Thank you so much for your time, AJ, and best of luck to you. I hope we see you later on in the year as you campaign around the state.
Yes, thank you, sir. I appreciate you having me very much.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.